Hi, I'm Chloe Thur, or Chloe, sorry, and this is my icebreaker. So my major is, well, it's undefined right now, but I have some areas of fields that I actually really am interested in, like music and science and writing, specifically like creative writing or just kind of writing in general. I'm pretty good. I'm not saying I'm good as a writer, but I think I'm decent at it, that I actually enjoy it a lot out of English, even though I'm not bad at it, I'm not great at it. But um I want to get out of this course specifically. I like learning about myths. I'm a nerd when it comes to myths. I incorporate them in my writings when I make characters or I'm just kind of thinking about them or I look at them like the myths about all the Greek gods and myths about the myths that come from my childhood that I read books from or I heard about in like small stories that we've read. Like my favorite is Icarus or The Fall of Icarus, or there's a whole like title of it, but just Icarus that I just call it, and it's probably one of my favorites. My favorite type of music is probably there's two types that I like. It's I grew up with rock and alternative. So that criteria of rock and alternative I grew up with because my mom and my mom's a huge music person, and so I listened to music practically every day. And due that I was in band for so many years. Music is in my life, and I need it in my ears to function as a person because it's just something that fills me with that warmth per se. But also, there's a type of music that I like called lo-fi. It's adding beats on top of beats, but they're often very calm beats, or and they have this syncopation to them that's just kind of relaxing and nice, and it honestly helps me relax. Um, my dream destination would probably I mean, if we're talking about fantasy, I would go a lot of places if it's about fantasy worlds or like fantasy places, but we're in real life, so let's stick to real life. Um, I really want to go to Japan or like South Korea or even like Germany or Italy or France, just because these countries really want to experience because Japan and Korea have so many weird customs or weird ways of living that I want to experience. And even like I want to go to Germany and I want to go to Italy and France because that's my blood. I'm mostly Italian and mostly German and a tiny bit French, maybe. I don't remember. But I'm so much of those cultures that I want to experience or like I want to eat their food. Really want to eat their food. And I want to go to all these places and experience their culture and their food that they have. It's just really fun. So the weirdest thing I've eaten, the weirdest thing I've eaten is cuttlefish, or technically cuttlefish balls. Because long story, I went to my dad's place. I in Colorado, and my aunt and I, or my not my aunt, blah. Well, technically my aunt went with us, but my dad, my stepmom, and me and my aunt went to Hot Pot, and we got it's usually hot pot's a Korean dish that are just usually Korean, but it's a bowl of broth, like hearty broth from like bone broth with meat, vegetables, seasonings, and all of these really, really good. And you get your choices of meat and seafood. Well, usually we get a lot of meat, but then my aunts or my stepmom offered me to try this fish, and she's like, I know you like shrimp and crab, but you try this, and honestly, it tasted pretty good, and I like it. I just like it because it soaks up all like the spices in it and your broth, and so it just like hits you with just spice. Weird fact, because I'm just adding a few more prompts because I'm bored. Weird fact. Um, I play the flute, and I have been playing for 8 years. I haven't played lately because I don't really have a flute because I'm broke. But I miss playing the flute, and also I write a lot. Yeah, I write creative characters that I just made up due to like stories or shows I've read or shows I've read that I've just kind of like, ooh, I want to learn about that. And so I'm like go into it, and then I build characters, I build stories, I build backstories. It's just a hobby I have. Oh, one of our teacher Nicole, one of her questions was, how do you deal with um like a difficult choice when it's come with the two choices of good and bad, or not good and bad, but like one good choice and one choice is that you just can't tell which one are which. I tend to panic. I tend to not really have it's like anxiety attacks where I'm just like I don't know what to do. I'm scared, but I often try to find reassurance. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I gonna do the right thing? But often I'll choose it and I think I'll do the right thing, even though at times I do the bad thing. That that is all. I probably went on a tangent for a lot of this. I'm sorry. I I like to talk, or I do, but then I get all weird and awkward afterwards. I feel like I talk too much. I'm sorry if I talk too much. Anyway, thank you for listening to my dumb nonsense. Bye.